Last time I travelled from Scotland's southernmost railway station all the way to Scotland's northernmost railway station in only one day. It was an interesting journey. I had some tight connections, I encountered lively football fans, I tried the local Glasgow cuisine, and I saw some incredible views of the Scottish Highlands out of the train windows. Now I've reached the northernmost town on mainland Scotland. Let's explore Thurso. Good morning from Thurso, the northernmost town in Scotland. I arrived here yesterday after taking an 11-hour journey from Scotland's southernmost railway station here to Thurso, which is Scotland's northernmost railway station. To be honest, quite tired after the journey, and I don't know why, because I wasn't even driving the train. I was just sitting there, but I think it was just a lot of time and a lot of sitting down. So yeah, feeling quite tired. I went down and had breakfast in the hotel this morning. It was really great actually. I had some cereal with fruit and yogurt, and then I had some hot items from the buffet. The weather looks so nice outside today, so looking forward to heading out and exploring this town. Here's a quick tour of the room I'm staying in. It's called the Pentland Hotel, and I booked it on booking.com for £127. That's for 2 nights with breakfast for one person, which I thought was quite reasonable. I have made it to my first stop. It's just beside the hotel actually. There's the hotel behind me, the Pentland Hotel, and it is really cold outside. But this place is called Sir John's Square. It's named after the man who I think designed Thurso and laid out the grid plan for the town. There's also a story that the plans of Thurso were used as the basis of the design for New York City. I wonder if that is actually true. Thurso has been settled for over 1,000 years, with its origins dating back to the Norse period. The town was an important Viking trading hub, and its name comes from Old Norse, meaning Thor's River. However, the area was likely inhabited even earlier, as evidence of prehistoric settlements and Pictish influence have been found in the region. In 1798, when Sir John Sinclair, the town planner, extended Thurso, he laid out the streets in a grid pattern with wide parallel streets and houses with gardens to the rear. Near here is another place which is associated with the old times in the town, and it's an old well where basically everyone in the town used to source their water from. I'm going to see if I can find it. I made it to the Meadow Well. So this structure has a well inside. It is locked and you can't get in, but this was the main water source for the town of Thurso. And also this area was where a lot of the fisherwomen used to congregate, because Thurso is near the sea, and like many of the towns up here on the north coast of Scotland, fishing was a huge part of the industry here and still is to this day. This well house, completed in 1823, encloses the historic Meadow Well, which served as Thurso's primary water source for centuries. However, by 1876, its use gradually declined as the town adopted a more reliable water supply from Loch Calder. Don't be deceived by the blue skies. It is bitterly cold. I didn't bring enough clothes with me. I should have brought some gloves. Nearby here is the river in Thurso, and I've heard it is really nice, so that's where I'm going to head next. I've made it down to the river, and on the way I actually stopped and bought some gloves for £2.99 because my fingertips were so frozen. This river here is 25 miles long, and apparently you can see wildlife like otters, seals and birds, but there's none today. After all the places I've looked in Scotland, I've only ever seen an otter once on the Isle of Mull, so the chances of seeing one here today are very slim, I think. This river is known for its salmon fishing, but probably like most places in Scotland, you will need to get a permit if you want to do fishing here. Like the cold, online security threats are something I always like to be prepared for. Signing up for something online always makes me pause. It's hard to know these days what websites you can trust. One wrong move and your email inbox can be full of junk mail or spam. That's why I'm so happy I started using ProtonPass. Not only is it a password manager, it also lets you create secure, anonymous email aliases so you don't have to give out your real email. This means no more spam and no more worrying about data leaks. ProtonPass also stores and encrypts all your passwords, usernames, and even card details. And with only one click, it autofills over all your devices, so I don't have to remember multiple different passwords. You can try out ProtonPass for free by using my link in the video description below. And if you're looking for even more security and convenience, you can also get 60% off one of their paid plans via the link. Thank you to ProtonPass for making it possible to film this video today. Now let's head to the next spot. I've just come down to the other side of the bridge and the flowers are all coming out behind me, but there's a beautiful view of the bridge here. Wow, that's lovely. That's such a nice bridge. I was reading that the water in this river flows quite slowly, similar to that of a canal, and that's why it's good for fishing. Looks like it's moving quite quickly. Thurso Bridge, completed in 1877, was designed by Scottish civil engineer Joseph Mitchell. It replaced an earlier structure that had suffered damage from frequent flooding. The bridge is a key part of Thurso's infrastructure, linking the town's two sides and providing an essential route for travel and trade. Built with sturdy stone arches, it reflects the engineering advancements of the 19th century, while maintaining a practical and elegant design. Over the years, it's undergone maintenance and reinforcement to withstand the harsh northern climate. I continued my walk through Thurso along the river, passing through some of the back streets. As I'm coming up to the mouth of the river where it enters into the sea, there's quite a few old boats here, and this one here says Kirkwall on it, so that's the main town on Orkney. Oh wow, look at this boat. I always try and imagine the life that these boats lived. I wonder what year they're from. Oh, here's another boat here, and there's actually some information about this one. What does it say? So it says here, this is the old Thurso lifeboat, launched in September 1929, laid to rest in 2003. Oh, that's lovely that there's a sign there with some information. It's really deteriorated in just over 20 years. Wow, it's incredible what the force of weather and nature can do. Thurso has a long fishing history, and it was once vital to the local economy. Its location on Scotland's northern coast gave it access to the North Atlantic, where herring fishing thrived in the 18th and 19th centuries. During the herring boom, boats landed large catches for processing and export. However, the industry declined in the 20th century due to overfishing and market changes, reducing Thurso's fishing sector. Just behind me there is actually one of the top things to see here in Thurso. It's a 13th century church. I'm going to head up there next. Inside the church is closed off actually, I think for preservation. It mentions here that it's also a scheduled monument. Wow, so old. St Peter's Kirk is a historic church ruin with deep ties to the town's medieval past. Dating back to at least the 13th century, it was one of the most important churches in Caithness and served as the town's parish church for centuries. Built in a simple but sturdy medieval style, it featured thick stone walls and Gothic-style windows. The church actually closed in 1832 and it's become a bit of a ruin now, but in the cemetery here there are still lots of graves, and interestingly they're laid flat. Usually graves have an upright headstone, but here most of them are laid flat. Recently I've become quite interested in the history of witches in Scotland, and here at this church they had the Scrabster witch trials in the early 1700s. I'm so far really enjoying my trip to Thurso on the train. It's such an adventure to go on a train to somewhere that you don't really know or haven't really explored before, and then have one full day to wander around and see all the sights. I'm so used to travelling by campervan and having my own vehicle, and doing it this way, it feels a little bit different, but I'm really enjoying it. I think one of my favourite things about having the campervan is having a toilet in the van, because when you're just out and about like this, you need to be at the mercy of public toilets or going to cafes, or you have to go back to the hotel. But with the van, it's always great because I've always got a toilet with me. I have now made it down to the waterfront here in Thurso. There is a wonderful beach here. I wanted to use the public toilets actually that are here, but they are closed, and I don't know if they're just closed during the winter or they've closed down altogether, but it's a bit annoying to be honest. And more and more in Scotland, public toilets are closing down. I don't know what it's like in the country that you live in, but to be honest, I think it's absolutely ridiculous that public toilets are being closed. It's not like people have stopped needing to go to the toilet all of a sudden. It's due to lack of funding, or councils don't want to pay for them or be responsible for them. And compared to so many other countries I've been to in the world, the public toilet situation in this country is pretty terrible, I think. Beach here at Thurso is known for its fantastic surfing, and in the summer you can even do surf lessons here. Even though today is so cold, I can see some people out there surfing on the waves. Thurso is world famous for its surfing, with some of the best waves in Europe. The powerful swells rolling in create Thurso East, a legendary reef break just east of the beach. Known for its long, heavy and perfectly formed waves, Thurso East attracts top surfers from around the world, and the break has hosted numerous international surf competitions. Nearby Thurso East is Thurso Castle, which was constructed in the 12th century. Over the centuries, the castle has undergone several alterations and reconstructions, and part of it is now a dramatic ruin. Over there in the distance behind me is Orkney. That is on the left side, the Isle of Hoy, and you can see, I think, some of the tallest sea cliffs in Great Britain are just over there on the Isle of Hoy. They are incredible. If you ever get the chance to go to Orkney, or especially the Isle of Hoy, I highly recommend it. The stretch of water between Thurso and Orkney is the Pentland Firth, a 10-mile wide passage that connects the North Sea to the Atlantic Ocean. It is famous for its powerful tidal currents, which are among the strongest in the world. Waves are crashing onto the beach. The kite surfing looks so fun. There was someone out doing kite surfing. When I come back next time in the summer, I definitely want to do a surf lesson here. I really enjoy surfing, but I'm not very good at it, but it's a lot of fun. Thurso has a population of around 7,000, and while it may be remote, there's a diverse mix of work going on here. The nearby Dounreay nuclear site is now being decommissioned, and although its peak employment days are over, some locals still hold specialist roles. These days, many people work in renewable energy, environmental research, healthcare, farming and skilled trades, with others employed in hospitality, retail and education. In the town centre, I stopped into a cafe for a scone and a cup of coffee to warm up. I really enjoyed my coffee and scone. It was so nice to get out of the wind. I'm walking now to the outskirts of the town because here in Thurso is Scotland's northernmost whisky distillery. I was walking along the main road and it was quite busy, there were a lot of cars. I made it down to the seafront here, and from Thurso to Scrabster there is a pathway called Victoria's Walk. So I'm going to take that because the views will be much better, and then I can slip off that and make it to the distillery. It is so nice down here at the other side of the beach, but as I was walking here I felt water splash on my face and I looked up. There's no grey clouds, there was loads of birds. I think they peed on me. It wasn't poo, but I think a bird peed on me. Is that even possible? I guess it must be, because sometimes you hear about people getting pooed on. How disgusting. It is outrageously windy. Oh, wow, mad. This here on the path is the Caithness flagstone. This was commonly used to make pavements, and as you can see, this fence here, they've used the flagstone to make it. Caithness flagstone is a unique dark grey to black grey mudstone, quarried in the north of Scotland. It's known for its strength, durability and versatility, and has been used globally in architecture and interiors, as well as being highly sought after for crafting long-lasting pavements. Actually, just behind the flagstone walls there, that is a campsite. Looks like it's closed at the moment for the season, but it's a nice place to stay because you get the view over the beach. So if you come here in the summer, this might be worth checking out if you're travelling in a campervan or a motorhome. We're in the northernmost town in Scotland, and guess who is here with us? It is the Sheepy Boys, and they are eating turnips or something strange looking. I wonder what that is. Have made it to the place where Wolfburn Distillery is. I didn't get blown off the cliffs on my way here. This distillery is the northernmost distillery on mainland Scotland. They do have distillery tours here, but they were earlier in the day. I hope there's a shop. I'm going to head inside and have a look. The best thing about not having a vehicle is that you can actually try a dram of whisky at the distillery. Wolfburn Distillery, established in 2013, is located just metres from the site of the original Wolfburn Distillery, which operated between 1821 and 1877. Like its predecessor, it draws water from the nearby Wolfburn. Known for its small-scale production, Wolfburn creates a range of whiskies, with a focus on smooth, rich flavours. Their collection includes both peated and unpeated whiskies, each offering balanced sweetness and fruity notes. It was great to go into Wolfburn Distillery, the northernmost distillery in Scotland. It was really interesting inside because the distillery and the shop were all in one room, and I haven't seen that before in another distillery that I've been to. The man working there was so friendly and he gave me a few different drams to try. It's great that I was walking because I could actually try some whiskey at the distillery, and I bought two to take away with me. So I got the Morven and I got the Northland, and the Morven is a lightly peated whiskey and the Northland is an unpeated whiskey but it has been matured in ex-Laphroaig casks, so it has a little bit of peatiness. I prefer the peaty whiskies, as I'm sure many of you know. The man working at the distillery also told me that soon they will no longer be the northernmost distillery on mainland Scotland, because there is another distillery at John O'Groats. So the whisky is almost ready at that distillery, so once the whisky is ready, they will be able to claim the title of the northernmost distillery on mainland Scotland. From here you can continue on Victoria's Walk to go to Scrabster, and that is where the ferry goes to Orkney. There's also a Stevenson lighthouse there. I'm not going to head there today because quite cold, so I'm going to head back to the hotel before it gets dark. I'm going to go out now and try and find something to eat. I have done a little bit of research. There is a restaurant downstairs in the hotel. There's also a fish and chip shop nearby which looks really good, and they serve locally caught fish. However, I did have chips yesterday for lunch, so I don't think I'll go there today. On the street there are also Chinese restaurants and Indian restaurants, which some of you might think is quite interesting. And actually, in different rural parts of Scotland you can find Indian restaurants and Chinese restaurants. They're usually offering both sit-in and takeaway, but it's quite a popular type of restaurant to find in remote parts of Scotland. And I don't know how authentic the food is, but people seem to like it. So there's a restaurant nearby here which has very good reviews. It's an Indian restaurant, and I haven't had Indian food for a really long time, so I'm going to head there. It looks like it's open tonight, and yeah, let's see what they have. The restaurant I went to is called Pride of Bengal, and Billy No Mates and I ordered a curry, rice and naan bread. I really enjoyed the dinner in the restaurant. It was really good. The curry was fantastic. If you come to Thurso and you're looking to have a curry, definitely recommend going there. I'm heading down now to the co-op to buy a few snacks because I'm taking the train back tomorrow and it's quite an early start and I need to get some food for my breakfast. I am back in the hotel room now with a hot drink. The restaurant downstairs is actually quite busy, so perhaps that's also a popular place to go for dinner. I got some snacks at the co-op for my train journey, so I got some boiled eggs, I got some bananas. I only wanted to buy 2, but had to buy a whole bunch. I got some nuts and I also got some oranges. So I think tomorrow when I go back, I won't have a gap until I get to Glasgow, so that will be after lunchtime. So I'm leaving before breakfast as well in the hotel, so I need to bring some food for breakfast and lunch. I've had such a good time coming here to Thurso. It feels like going on holiday. It sounds really strange. I think it's different for me this time because I don't have the van. I think when I travel with the campervan, I'm always thinking about where to park, I'm always thinking about where to stay. But without a vehicle, it's like a whole layer of responsibility is gone. And it's really nice to also be in a hotel room because it's warm, you have access to as many showers as you want, electricity, running water, it's really good. It's so exciting to just take a train to a random place and then spend the day exploring. I really enjoyed my walk down by the beach. I also enjoyed seeing the church and visiting the Northernmost distillery on mainland Scotland. So if you're thinking to do a little weekend trip somewhere, I really recommend it. There's lots of amazing places all over Scotland that you could take a train or a bus to and then spend the night or spend a few nights and explore. I'm going to get ready for bed now because I'm up early. The train is leaving at 6:45 a.m. I think, so I'll need to leave the hotel around 6:15, 6:30. Thank you so much for watching this video in Scotland's northernmost town, and I will see you next time.